And we're back with season 2, episode 8. And in this one, we have myself, Job the Local,
Rachel the Gringa,
and we also have as guests
Ivan Luna.
No, Ivan is what we would say a Belizean Thousandaire, and that's just the title of our show. Ivan has an incredible story that starts from the humble beginnings in Benque Viejo, growing up, becoming a Belizean, a well-known Belizean here in the island, and now being the owner of Crocs. Now, if you're familiar with the island, you're probably familiar with where Croc is and what it is all about. One of the most funnest places to be, over the water, lagoon side, nice chill vibes. We'll let him introduce himself and we'll just go from there and we'll learn what his story is like and also a bit about what is it like owning and running a bar in the Caribbean. Give us an overview of who Ivan Luna is and where he's from.
The original part of it or the fake part of it?
The original one.
No, I'm originally from Benque Viejo. I lived there until I was the age of between 11 and 12, and we migrated to Bully Tree Falls, and I was back and forth between Bully Tree, Cayo, and Benque through my high school years. And after high school, I finished high school and I stayed in San Ignacio for a little bit. And then in 2008, migrated to San Pedro. So I've been here 16 years. So
Did you migrate back then on your own? Was it with family? How did that happen?
job opportunity, just like everybody else, seeking a different, vibe. And I got a job opportunity. I met this person in San Ignacio, and she was like, "You're a really good bartender. You're a really good fit for the resort I'll be running. Why don't you come give it a try?" And in a matter of life and decisions, I ended up moving to San Pedro, and I said I'll give it a try for 3 months, and 3 months have been turned into 16 years now.
Where was that? You said a resort. Where was that first at?
It was Reef Village, now it's known as Mara Laguna. I worked there for 2 years before I venture out of there and kind of bounce a little bit around the island before I end up deciding that I saw an opportunity of creating my own business, and I went for it.
And give us a little bit. You mentioned from when you started off at what is known now as Mara Laguna. That was when you were 18.
No,
Was it that?
I'm not 18. I was 23, I think, or 22.
You were 23 there. So basically from 23 and then now from when you started your business, how long was that period there?
From here and there, I think we started the business about 7 years ago now, so 33.
33. So basically about 10 years until from when you started off
To where I'm at now.
to where I'm at.
Yeah.
And the reason why I highlight that is because it's important that, the way you put it, it kind of sounded like, it was kind of like an overnight success.
No, it's
When
not.
we just want to make sure people know
No,
that.
it's not been an overnight success.
Well, let's even take a step back a little bit more to your childhood. So you grew up in Benque Viejo. What was that like in the 80s, right? 80s,
Yeah.
early 90s? What was
Early
life
90s.
like for you?
It was different, it was fun. I grew up in a very small town. Everybody knew everybody, which they still do. I grew up close to the river, so that's why I love the river. I was an entrepreneur since I was little. I remember going, knocking on people's doors, asking if I can go run errands for them. I used to pick berries and ferment them and sell them at schools. I used to sell avocados and sell them to neighbors. So I always had that drive to do something, to be an entrepreneur, to make my own money, to kind of like get ahead of life. And growing up, that kind of was the steps of helping me to where I'm at now, just pushing it and trying to just, do something with my life. So growing in Benque, I did that. I met a lot of people, grew up on the river. I'm still familiar with people. I still go back and forth and visit friends. But it was a fun childhood. I mean, I was very mischievous, and not much has changed since then. So.
And so then continue on. So then you graduated high school, and then what did you decide to do after high school?
I actually, right before high school, I learned the trade of barback and waiter at a small restaurant in Benque. And when I moved to San Ignacio, when I finished high school, I ran back into the same guy who was training me, and he asked me if I want to continue, and I was like, sure. So that kind of opened the doors for me for learn how to be a bartender, how to be a waiter, and I really enjoyed that part of work. So I stuck with it. I said I was really good at what I do. I love the bar business. I love the restaurant business. Just in overall, meeting people, mixing drinks, cooking, all of that. I just loved it. I wanted to be a chef. That was my thing. So growing up, I wanted to be a chef. So
And then, so did he trained you, or did you kind of have to train yourself and learn from others, or how did you get the experience of being a good bartender?
he trained me for a little bit, the basics of it, and then I kind of worked at Blancanu, and I worked at Turtlin, I worked at St. Ignace Hotel. So I had a really good background when it came to the service industry. So I work at a really nice resorts. So I learned and I picked up the trade of, being a professional waiter, being a professional bartender, how to, talk to people, how to cater for people, because I worked at really nice places. So that helped me a lot. That kind of, boosts me a little bit to become a professional waiter and bartender. So
And I do have to mention one thing. There is a lot to say about it transitioning from just being a bartender and a waiter, because bear in mind, nothing wrong with being a bartender and a waiter, but you don't see bartenders and waiters becoming business owners over time. You know, what do you think were keys to your success as a Belizean? You probably mastered your craft very well. Where you did you meet people that you served, and then they turned out to be, people who could help you reach your goal? How did that happen?
working at a bar in San Pedro, I noticed that there was what do you call it? I mean, there was a calling there. I mean, there was a lot of people that would migrate from outside into and then come to Belize and open a business. And I'm like, if they're foreigners and they're coming in here to open a bar, why I can't do it myself? So over the years of working at a bar, I met a friend of mine, really good friend of mine, for the past, I would say, 12 years. And we went back and forth talking about business. He wanted something different. I was adamant about I want a bar, I want a bar, I want a bar, because that's what I knew and that's what I love. I knew that industry. And I finally convinced him, and we went to business together. I made a business proposition to him to open a sports bar over the water. And he agreed, and he designed it. I fixed the design, and we, you know, built the bar. But overall, being a business owner is not as being a waiter and a bartender. It's a lot more responsibility. I love it. I enjoy it. The drive is there. I just seeing the masterpiece that you can create is just the adrenaline is there every day. Wake up every morning to go to work to see what can you create. And with that, I think we created Crocs Sunset Sports Bar, and then it's we offer a little bit of more than different kind of food. The ambience is different. It's over the water. You can spot a crocodile. We have events that we've created over the years. We have one coming up around the corner. It's a event called Croctoberfest, and let me rephrase it. It's Crocs Festival.
So no lederhosens, no pretzels, no
It's
wiener
not.
pretzels.
It's not Oktoberfest. It's Croctoberfest, which means Crocs Festival. So
I did buy
We're
him
not
a
roasting
lederhosen.
crocodiles.
No, no,
We're not
no.
roasting crocodiles. Well, that's very insightful that you mentioned, due to the fact that gives our Belizean viewer and listener that insight that relationships built over time. And this is one of the next big things that I always see here in Belize. Um, a lot of Belizeans find themselves making a good relationship with a foreigner, and then they burn their bridges by scamming them, by stealing, or by just being dishonest.
yeah,
And it goes to show that the relation. You said 12 years. You were.
yeah. We have 12 years of relationship, and when I got the opportunity, I was like, it's not gonna come back again. And I went for it, and I proved myself. It was more about proving myself that I can do it.
Yeah.
The money comes in and goes, but the relationship and the trust that we have with each other is like he says, money goes and goes every day, but the trust that I have in you, you know, it's more than what we've invested on the bar. So, I mean, 7 years into the business now, I own the business, and I mean, he still owns the structure, but I own the business.
Yeah.
And a year into it, I did it. He came back to me. It was like, you're building this business, you're building this brand. You're the one working. You're the one getting up every day, 7 days a week. So, it's true. I've seen a lot of people, and I've met a lot of people on this island that have the opportunity, where foreigners come and they see how hard of a working culture we are, how honest it is, and they want to help. They want to help, they want to pay it forward, but unfortunately, we do have some people like that take advantage and they just blow it up.
Yeah. No, and then I've seen it all the time. I see it all the time, but it does show that your story does show that if you are honest, if you are ethical, if you're straightforward people, it doesn't mean that, you know, hey, I'm just saying, maybe 2 years in, the business would have sucked and it wouldn't have worked out. But then that relationship would have still been there, and maybe that wouldn't have worked out. But then you would have moved on to something else. I mean, fortunately, now you say you're 7 years in, you can pretty much basically say your business has been a success. Anything after 5 years, I would say you can say that it's been a success. So yeah, that's great to know. Rachel, you have any?
Well, and I do have to say, knowing you and how you are around people, and when you meet people, is you genuinely care, right? Like you're there, you have that honest, open conversation. You remember people's names, you remember their details, and we've met people 5 or 6 times, and I'm like, Ivan, who's that? He's like, you've met them before. It's this person. They're from Georgia. They have 5 kids. Their favorite color is blue. They like this, and because you listen and you care, and I think that also makes a difference, right? Because if you do go into business with somebody, or you start a business and your primary goal is just make money, and you started to allude to this, then you are really disconnecting from what's going to make your business make money, which are the people, right? And you need to connect with your customers and your clients and build that relationship, and not just relationship with business partners, right? But with your clients, the people that will continue to come back and visit. And I think that's something that you've done really, really well. I mean, it's unbelievable how you remember everyone's names and stories and kids and grandkids and the last time they visited and what condo number they own at a specific place.
I still have a lot of people that I meet over there that I still remember, and I still keep in touch with them. And if I don't, I don't see them, in 5 years. And it's funny, I was working at Legends. I think it was a small period of time of working Legends.
Give us for the young listener, where was Legends?
Well, Legends is just in between Crocs and Mara Laguna. It's right across, down the street from 303. So like 3 houses. Oh, later is in front of Twisted Palms. It's right down from the dive bar, 303, that same little Tres Cocos area. It's getting rebuilt now. But Legends was a burger joint, and it was a little bar. It was burgers and drinks and jam night. That's what it was. But it was fun and successful. And I worked there for a small period of time, and I met a guy named Todd. One day, that was it. He came to the bar, he had mojitos, him and his wife, and they sat there. But the conversation we had was what struck me, He's like, I know you're young, you're gonna make it. Just be patient and don't take advantage of people, don't screw it up. And he's like, remember people. And we just had a really good connection, and he had 3 mojitos, he had a burger, him and his wife left. I didn't see him. Like 5 years later, I think I saw him. I was working at the Palapa bar at that time. Here comes in Todd walking into the bar, and I'm being a bartender. He sits in front of me, and I'm like, hi, Todd. He looks at me, he's like, who are you? Like I'm sorry, but I said, you probably don't remember me, but I do. I was working at Legends 5 years ago. You and your wife came and you had mojitos. I went downstairs, plucked the fresh mint out of the garden, came upstairs and made you fresh mojitos, and we had the best conversation I've had in 5 years. And he's like, how the hell do you remember that?
But it's so crazy. Like sometimes it's like, oh, remember to do the dishes. And you're like, oh, whoops, I can't
I remember the long-term things, not the short-term things.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
The business things, Rachel.
Right, of course, I got to apply it in a business way. That's right.
No, just being successful. And like she said, I have a genuine heart. I mean, I just see it as like, it's just who I am, pay it forward, help the community. I don't know if you know, but we have the fundraising organization that we've built for the past, I think, 3 years we've done this, or 4 years, we did it through COVID.
Yeah. What's that about?
So we built a fundraising organization during COVID to just give back to the people, the community. We all know what we all were going through COVID, struggling and everything. I mean, I personally, my business was struggling, but I was lucky enough to have friends in the States and to help me a little bit. And I was able with the ideas, and I'm always running ideas in my head, and how can I create this and what can I do? I created a San Pedro Christmas collection, and we started it just raising $300 one night to raising enough money to feed 500 families during COVID. And then it went to 1,000, and then we decided we just want to give all the kids toys, and we went to 25 to almost 3,000 kids. So we took over all the schools and the preschools, and we gave them toys and food. And last year, we raised enough money to bring musical instruments to schools, computers. We built a playground in Boca del Rio. So, I mean, it's not just about being successful. It's about giving back to the community that help you become successful. That's
Yeah.
that's the way. That's why Rachel sometimes like you just have that side of you, and I don't see it as a genuine. I just see it like I've paid forward.
Hmm. So it's there. I'm starting to put together all these elements that, I mean, unconsciously probably to you have been a big part of what has made you successful. First, obviously the honesty, the genuineness with people, trying to always be very fair to everyone, and then giving back to your community. Now let's hop out back from a business to personal memories in the island. What When you came here, what were one things that you always remember of, and that you look back and you're like, man, those are crazy times, or those are crazy fun
Are we
times.
gonna go there?
Yeah.
Gosh, put my clothes up there.
Yeah, you can say what you want.
Or just something that's really memorable. It doesn't have to.
memorable.
It doesn't have to be
I
crazy.
think being in the island for 16 years when I first moved here, it's just the sense of community that this place have. Everybody. I mean, they might be divided today, but tomorrow when there's something that happens that it needs support, everybody forgets about their race, their color, they're upset, or I don't like my neighbor, but everybody gets together and helps. That's what I love about this community. You don't see it much outside out there. It does probably happen, but the sense of the community that this place have that everybody forgets, about what happened yesterday, but we need to get together to help this person. That's what I think made me want to stay, and I still remember, and that's why I wanted to be a part of that. That's why when I was able to do it myself, I did it. But I think just being here when I came to the island, I mean, I did, and I still keep doing silly things, and my friends call me Crazy Ivan. I mean, so.
Hanging from rafters at Blue Bayou. Sorry, Megan.
Sorry, Megan, and I told you don't put the palapa there. Yeah, hanging from rafters at Blue Bayou and pounding 10 shots of Fireball to a competition that I won. Eugene, I know you'll be seeing this round two.
So Eugene Bowen.
Yep. No, he wanted to go on a shots competition with me at, what's it called? Losers?
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't want to do that. And he wanted to do it. I'm like, all right then.
Did he?
He lost.
How much was he able to do?
So I think in total we did like 10 shots back to back, and then I said, we're done. We don't want any more. And he decided he wants to continue, and I bought, I think it was Jaeger. And I put it in front of him. I had Fireball and said, let's do it. He was not in a good shape when he got out of there. Every time he's like, shots, I'm like, bring it on. So, I mean, we used to do silly things. I mean, even with Miller, you can ask Miller. Jeff Miller. Jeff Miller? What?
Jeff's his first name, yep.
Jeff, I'm sorry, Miller. I exposed you. Even Miller's afraid of going around and doing shots. So there's a wild side of me too.
So I'm going to go back to the business part for a minute. So for anybody who is interested in starting a business or running a business or anything, and they're young or maybe not even young but inspired, what would you recommend and suggest to them in order to be successful?
I don't even know how to answer that.
Yeah, but like what advice would you give to somebody who wants to get started? What made you successful? What do you see as being important for a youngster or anyone who wants to get started?
I mean, getting started is not the hard part. Just keeping it. Study your clientele, see what they like. You gotta, what has helped me, I guess, is just I study the clientele. I engage with them. I see what they want, what they're looking for, and I try to, put that on the table. It's like, I know we're a tourist town, and I know coming from a background where I like American football, even though, people laugh at me sometimes, like, you're not white, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be, watching American football. But I saw that there was a need for it, so I opened a sports bar. But then I study my clientele day by day, meet with them, engage with them, and ask what they want. And it comes from a simple thing as they wanted a burger to wanting a fancy meal. So I created a menu, I created a bar, I created events that people like, and that's what keeps them coming to Crocs. It's not just because it's a big boy treehouse. It's just the fact, the atmosphere that we've created at a bar. It's just studying your clientele. What the advice, honestly, I just work hard. I work hard. I don't stop. I don't give up.
And 7 years is a long time in the bar industry to own a bar and work in a restaurant. And so what would you say is your inspiration to keep going?
My inspiration, I just wanted to be successful. I wanted to prove to myself that I can do it. And I wanted to prove to myself that humble boy that came from a small town came to the big leagues, and I can do it. So it was just about pushing myself and proving myself that I can do it. That's what it was. And now I gotta say I have a little son. And that's what it is now. Just waking up every morning and to be able to, it's not I don't want him to go through the whole life what I went to, because it taught me to be who I am. And I do want him to learn things like that, but I want him to have a little bit better opportunity than what I had. I think that's what makes me get up every morning to keep pushing those 14 hours a day.
Yeah. And
7 days a week.
what about Nola?
All the pets too.
All right.
Being able to work hard and afford chicken for them.
Yeah, those dogs eat chicken every day, man. That's a good life.
Yeah, it is a good life for them, believe me. They live the Beverly Hills life.
And to start closing off, let's ask you two very important questions we always ask here. And one of them is, when it comes to the island and the mainland, what are your must-have places to visit or things to do, and places to visit to go eat? And what plate do you eat here in the island and in the mainland? You cannot say your bar.
I was not going to say my bar. I was not going to say nothing like that. The mainland, people see me and they just say I'm crazy, but I like adventure. I like to be outdoors, adventure. I like to be in the wild. And one of my favorite things to do is just go off-roading and end up at the pontoon over at the River Splash Eco Tours that takes you up the mountains. That's one of my favorite things to do, because you not only sit on the pontoon, but you can climb the pontoon and jump in the water. You could go to the waterfall, swing off the swings. It's just the whole thing of being out. You disconnect from everything. And you're just going off-roading there and just going there and being on the pontoon is pretty cool. That's one of my favorite things to do. I hang out a lot with my family, so we like to do river tubing.
Yeah.
River tubing is fun. You've done it. You've done it. Cynthia, we have to take you there. Oh, you didn't do the river tubing.
No, not with you guys. That's
With her other friends.
Yeah. She has other friends apart from us.
How about spots or meal to eat in
Like
the mainland and restaurant?
I like the little moms and pops areas. Like it's a must stop before we go in or we leave. We gotta stop at Minchas and have fried tacos. That is a must.
Yeah.
Either that or we go to Pops, and I can eat rice and beans and stewed chicken 7 days a week.
From Pops.
From Pops or anybody else. So no, I go to Pops. Pops is really good. I love their stewed chicken and their fried jack. If Minchas is not there, I go to Pops. Those are two of my favorite places to go. Do I really go to a fancy dinner place? I'm not that kind of guy.
Well, you did forget one place on the mainland.
Where, the one down there?
Friendship.
Oh yeah. That's when we go in. We go in. We stop in Friendship in Belize City. It's my cheat meal. My friend laughs at me because I usually eat 2 plates of food. So.
Fried chicken.
And then when it comes to the island?
To the island?
Yeah, one meal, one plate, one place you have to always have it.
The plate I have on the island, or where I go?
Where I go on the plate,
I can say again, I eat rice and beans every day. That's what I eat all the time. I can say I eat rice and beans every day. I mean, I literally had rice and beans earlier today.
Well, let's put it to you this way: if you have a special meal outside of rice and beans in the island,
Rice and beans.
He actually had that as an appetizer, and then
I usually have appetizer as a rice and beans, and as a meal I have rice and beans again. No, I love ceviche. And I do salpicon, and I just became a big fan of salpicon again. I mean, that's what I usually, if I see it on the menu, I'm going for either ceviche, salpicon, and rice and beans. That's the crofin on me. Even when I've been to the States, we were in New York. We were in New York City, 16 degrees. And here we are walking at a light show. I'm frozen because I choose fashion over jacket. And we're walking, and there's a hot dog stand in the corner. And my mother-in-law, she's like, look. And I look over, and it says, fire hot rice and beans. I run to that. And look at me.
New York,
In New York City.
a random hot dog stand.
No, it was we were at
The
a
Botanical
light show,
Gardens,
Botanical
yeah.
Gardens. And then Rachel, I think, is the one that said, look. And then I'm like, I look at the corner, and there's a fire hot, right? Blazing rice and beans, and I run over there.
Well, and it was funny because it was at the Botanical Gardens during Christmas time. They do a light show.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and there's just millions and millions of lights, and you're walking through the park, but it's cold. Like it's 16 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius. We're in Fahrenheit here. And so this one just shows up in a little pea coat, and my dad's like, you probably want to wear something thicker. And it's like, no, this is good. And then, did you have gloves? I don't even remember.
I have some thin
Oh, you had
gloves.
some really thin ass
But
gloves.
he wanted to give me a big jacket that it couldn't wear. And then,
it was not his style, right?
not
So he
my
had to wear
style.
this pea coat and with one little flimsy layer underneath. And so as we were going into the Botanical Gardens, on the right-hand side, they had some food stalls, like little food vendors, little carts. And so one of them was rice and beans, but we were going to Little Italy shortly after the light show, in New York City to eat dinners, authentic Italian food. And so my mom's like, no, you can't eat now, Ivan. We're going to go to Italian and get Italian food shortly. And he's like, no, I can have my rice and beans. And then
I always still eat dinner, but I saw rice and beans. I got to have rice and beans.
I remember my mom, she's like, oh, can I just taste it?
She wanted to taste it. She's like, so what do you think? I said, well, I think it's hard to find all the ingredients that you have in Belize. At 16 degrees weather, like fresh cilantro, I mean, you can't find it. So,
Yeah.
but even when we went to Chicago, I was 3 weeks in the U.S. and we landed in Chicago for the first time. My cousin picks me up and he's like, first time in Chicago, what do you want to do? Well, I heard there's a place called Red's and they sell rice and beans there. So can we go there? He's like, of all the things in Chicago, like they have great pizza. Like, I mean, there's so much. I'm like, I don't care. I want to go have my rice and beans. And I sat down. I think we ordered like 3 different plates of food.
And then the next day, we went back to get more rice and beans.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and now, Rachel, your final question.
Okay, if you were mayor of San Pedro, what would be one thing that you would work on, you would improve, or you would change?
Gosh, Mayor of San Pedro. I didn't even dream of that.
Wally calls you up and he's like, hey, Ivan, you're doing so great with the bar. We want you to run the island now.
I'll pack my bags and I leave.
There's nothing that you can think of that stands out that is what you'd want to work on or focus on?
I mean,
improve?
I see a lot of, I don't know what this might sound, but I think the island can get more clean. The town council is doing a lot. We've seen a lot of changes in the past 4 years, but just driving north or driving anywhere, like keep the island clean. It speaks a lot when you just keep the island clean. I travel a lot, go a lot to the States. I travel a lot to South. I think just keeping cleaning the island, pick up the garbage and put it in its place. That will make a big change. That will make a big change for a lot of people that visit this island and be like, the friendliness is there. We're very friendly, happy people. And people love that about us, that they keep coming and they keep commenting how beautiful and like people are here just genuinely nice. But then, we want them to come back again more, not just for that, but just let's keep our area clean. I love to have a clean area. Like you can ask my staff how adamant about things. So,
And it does call it to be a community effort, not just a town
Yes.
council effort. What I'm hearing it the way you're saying, it's not just a town council, it's just not a law, a government body, but it's a community effort to keeping the island clean. All right, guys, that is the very end of our Belizean Thousandaire story. Appreciate you guys watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with all your family and friends so that they can know a little bit more about Belize and what it is about. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.